this will be causing millions of people a lot more worry than they already have got with the cost of living crisis, Liam.
Exactly, Pip. There are two... So there's this thing called the CMA, the Competition and Markets Authority. It used to be called the Office for Fair Trading, the OFT, and it combined with the Competition Commission as the officials in Whitehall sort of moved the deck chairs and so on. But we now have the CMA, which is a powerful body. It's an independent official body, and it examines particular sectors where it thinks competition may not be happening, where maybe retailers are colluding, and so consumers don't get a good deal, basically. And there have been two really big investigations going on over the last couple of months. And I'm going to tell you about the first one, which is supermarkets selling fuel, right? So when you go to the supermarket and they've got petrol stations there and you use them to fill up. And the results of this one actually came out at the end of last week, and it was barely noticed. So I just want to alert GB News viewers and listeners to it. So when the CMA investigated supermarkets selling fuel, you can see on the graphic, they found that fuel profits when sold by supermarkets were actually up quite sharply. The margin on fuel profits was 4.6p per litre in 2019 profit, but that was 10.8p per litre in 2022. An absolutely huge increase. Well, a doubling, effectively, more than doubling of those profits when supermarkets sell fuel. And the CMA found that motorists overpaid for their fuel when they bought at supermarkets by £900 million in 2022. That's absolutely huge. So the supermarkets are being reprimanded for that. And then there's this new study that's come out this morning, and it's much less dramatic because the CMA finds that when supermarkets are selling food, there was actually competition. There wasn't kind of price gouging or profiteering. Now, we know that food price inflation is still very high. The number yesterday that came out from the ONS was 17.3%. So food was 17.3% more expensive in June than June 2022. But the CMA found that over that year, food retailing profits actually fell. And this is supermarkets and some other convenience stores. And the average operating margins of those food retailers fell from 2021 to 2022 from 3.2% to 1.8%. So the supermarket's got a clean bill of health when selling food, but not when selling fuel. Though the CMA did say that sometimes food retailers weren't displaying prices clearly enough. So you might want to know how much vegetables are per kilo. You might want to know how much shampoo is per millilitres or whatever. And sometimes the units that supermarkets were using weren't comparable. The typeface was too small, etc., etc. So the CMA said food retailers need clearer per unit pricing.
What we have been clear on is what the price is at the forecourt when we pull in for petrol at supermarkets. Now, Asda were actually called to account by MPs yesterday. Just run us through what happened on that.
Very dramatic yesterday, and it's one reason why I reprised this CMA inquiry into fuel selling by supermarkets, because it kind of got lost towards the back end of last week. There's so much going on. And because yesterday the House of Commons, the Select Committee, was quizzing some of the supermarket bosses, and the boss of Asda in particular, sort of billionaire boss of Asda, he was really hauled over the coals, and some of the MPs said afterwards that his performance was embarrassing and it detracted from Asda's reputation.
Well, I think they said they'd wasted an hour of their time
because the boss didn't seem to want to admit that profits on petrol retailing were higher when the CMA had the bang to rights, as we say in journalism. Now, Asda deny any wrongdoing, but I would say that having these two inquiries at once, it's been quite difficult for us to follow them and for consumers to follow them. But the basic outline is that when they're selling petrol, the supermarkets have been profiteering, and when they're selling food, they haven't been.
And just when it comes to the selling food, would you agree that people should actually just always check your receipts? I do every single time I shop, because I've been caught out too many times by a display that says, £2 for £3, and it doesn't show up on my receipts.
You've put your finger on, Pip, exactly what the CMA is saying. I mean, look, some people, I've been talking to friends who are campaigning, anti-poverty campaigners this morning, and they think the CMA's pulled their punches. They think, of course, there's profiteering going on in the supermarkets. They're just too powerful, lots of campaign donations, etc., etc. So the CMA has pulled its punches, but it has kind of given a finger in the direction, an eyebrow in the direction of the supermarkets when they actually sell fuel. I actually find the CMA finding on food, I wouldn't say disingenuous. I find it stretches my imagination as well. I do think there have been price rises that are unjustifiable, particularly on certain products. Yeah. And we've had data from companies like Cantor, from campaigners like Which. Yeah, you guys we talk about this every few days, don't we? And when you've got 17.1% food price inflation, right? When wholesale food prices have come down a lot, the retailers would say, oh, yeah, but there's the cost of heating and growing in greenhouses and labour costs are high. Yeah, but, when was the last time you went to a supermarket and somebody actually did the checkout for you? It's all self-checkout now, isn't it? Or a lot of it is. Look, this debate's going to go on and on. But for now, at least, the supermarkets, they've got a clean bill of health, mostly on food retailing, but they've certainly had their card marked when it comes to petrol retailing.
And we'll see what happens to the prices on the forecourt.
Absolutely.
Liam, as ever, thank you.